Here in studio with the NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga, and during the debates on Monday, you explained why you have a problem with your eye, and it's another conversation that quite a number of people want to just get into. But also just looking at the bigger picture, I was reading part of The Flame of Freedom, which I want you to sign for me, and one of the things that you really describe is your time during detention in Manyani, and you talked about the train that you did not know what time it was until the train would pass, and then you'd know, like, okay, so now it should be about 1 o'clock. Maybe you could just delve deeper into how that was like.
That's a very interesting experience.
Yeah.
In detention, you are a brave for anything that endears us to life. And if you are completely incommunicado, you're just alone in that building. And they let you out for a very short period of time. Most of the times you are indoors. And at night, there's just that lonely light on top of the ceiling. That is the only thing you have, because you are all the times in light. And that is what actually spoiled my eyes, because when you're trying to read, the lighting is poor. In the end, it has a toll.
So this training.
It's training, correct. But then you just sit there, and at night, because there are vehicles running on the highway. Yeah. But the most significant event is the train. When the train is passing, there is the Nairobi bound, which passes fast, and then that passes just around midnight. And then in the early hours, around 3, 4, then there is the Mombasa bound. You hear that, you hear the vibrations. That's how you calculate your time.
You calculate your time.
Yeah.
But then how was that like? I mean, you have, like you mentioned, one day comes and it goes, and another one comes and it goes. And do you feel like, people right now understand, especially young people, appreciate what happened to you at that time? Do they understand this?
It is easier. I mean, this generation does not understand, because they were born after the repeal of Section 2A. And some of them were born after the law of detention had also been removed. So now Kenyans are enjoying quite a bit of democratic space.
Yes. You
can talk. Imagine it was a crime to even, for example, come up with a cartoon of a president. Today, people take those kind of things for granted. But then now, at that time, things, of course, were very hard. Once you're detained, just a minister has signed an order to have you detained. You don't know for how long. It's better for you to be sentenced to a fixed term. Then you know that you can be counting days.
Yes, yes.
But if you're detained, you don't know when you are going to be released. They used to release most detainees on public days. I mean, national national holidays. Like you could be released on a Jamhuri. If you're not released in Jamhuri, then you have to be there until Madaraka.
Wow.
And if Madaraka comes and you're not released, you wait for Kenyatta Day, those days. If Kenyatta Day comes and you're not released, then again, Jamhuri. So that's how frustrating.
It was frustrating.
It can be very frustrating.
All right, right now, where you are, do you feel that you are putting somebody out there? Because, I mean, you're a very influential politician. Are you sharpening the skills of anybody, let's say in your family or out, to take up the position that you hold right now?
I was never invited to come to politics. I just took to politics, by instinct. And people who want to be in politics will go into politics. I don't think that it should really be right to try to force somebody that I want you to be a politician. Everybody have a right to choose what they want to be. But if you have somebody who is already interested in politics, then you can actually train them, give them skills. See, sometimes there's quite a bit of impatience, which is, in my view, also not wrong. You know, because things change when people are impatient in a society. When we were young, you know, we were called the young Turks. The young Turks, we were 5 of us, and we were basically championing for change. The elders used to call us that we were vijana, background boys, and that we are too ambitious, because they say you are young. But this thing is that youth is a transient status. It is not a permanent status. Within not a short period of time, they will tell you that, oh, now you're too old.
Yes. Do you get that sometimes? Do you get people who say that maybe you're past that time that you should be running for this presidential seat?
You remember, even the Jubilee guys have been saying, oh, that Rosy was tafu, which is vijana waendelee. But I've been saying that I'm not here by anybody's invitation. I'm here because people think that I represent what they want to see done. But if you look at the current president, his son just married my niece the other day. So it's what they call my mdhoniwa. I mean, how can you be a mdhoniwa? Then you say that you're young.
But isn't that the interesting relationship that you have with President Uhuru Kenyatta? On one hand, you come across as your friends, and you even talk every day. But on the other, you come across as serious rivals. How can you describe your relationship with the president right now?
You know, rivalry does not have to translate into enmity. You see, rivalry can be very healthy. You don't have to be fighting each other physically. By opposing does not mean that you're enemies. You're just taking a different position on a particular matter of public interest. So this is how it is. So what we're doing is constructive criticism. When I talk about, for example, exclusion, I don't mean, I'm not personal. When I talk about corruption, I'm not being personal against the president. When I talk of mismanagement, again, I just come up with issues. See, and I'm always able to substantiate what I'm saying, and I also give some suggestions to him. So this is what is called in Britain Her Majesty's loyal opposition. That is, it is not the duty of the opposition to develop. That's the work of the government.
All right.
When they keep on asking you, what have you done? What have you done? See, in this country, we have only had 4 presidents. Kenyatta the first, Moi, Kibaki, and Kenyatta the second. There's never been a President Raila Odinga. So that you ask me, the Grand Coalition government was shared.
Yes, yes.
I was the Prime Minister. Kibaki was the President. So don't ask us what we did when we were in government. Say, Kalonzo, what has Kalonzo done? He has been in government for so many years. Kalonzo was not a president. Mudavadi was not a president. All of them were serving a president. Everything that is done in that period is all credited to Moi. That's why they call it the Moi era. Then there's Kibaki era. Then there's Kenyatta first era. Now you've got Uhuru Kenyatta era. You not call it Uhuru Ruto era.
Right.
Okay.
So you're asking now for a Raila era, if I'm not wrong, for after the elections.
Yes.
How do you prepare when you're going for campaigns in Central? Is it the same way you do when you're going to Bondo? Are there any special preparations that you make? Do you think about, do you reflect on it before you hit the ground?
Certainly, everywhere you go to, issues are different. So it's nothing like a standard template that you use when you're going to campaign. You must know what are the issues in this particular area. and what are the solutions that affect the people in that particular area. So when I'm going to Central, I know that the people there are reasonable people, but they have been indoctrinated with the propaganda against Raila, that Raila Odinga is the devil incarnate. So I go there to try to change that perception, that, hey, Raila is not the devil. Raila is not the one who is responsible for your problems. Raila, in fact, offers a solution to your problems, okay? When you're being told that if Raila takes over power, you will be marginalized. Your children will not go to school, your people will be sacked from employment, and so on. So it will be made as if there's a war between the Luos and the Kikuyus.
So
that's
that
what
was
I
not
try
there.
to dispel.
All right.
I tell them that, look, we have been together before. See, my father was offered the position of a prime minister by the British to let Kenyatta die in prison. And they refused to accept it. And he said, no, told the governor that Kenyatta is just here in Lodwar. Bring him here to lead us. You see, and that is written in my father's autobiography.
Yes, yes.
I championed the cause of Kibaki. And I went and campaigned among the Luos for Kibaki. And I told them that, look, the differences between Jaramogi and Kenyatta were never personal. They were ideological. That's why Jaramogi's chief lieutenant was Bildad Kagia,
All right.
a Kikuyu. And Kenyatta's chief lieutenant was Tomboya, a Luo. So I say that we can be together. I told them Kibaki was brought to Kenya by Jaramogi from Makerere. Made him the chief executive of Kanu. Bought his first car, helped pay his salaries. So I said, you cannot visit the ills of Kenyatta on Kibaki.
All right.
And the Luos voted for Kibaki to the man and woman. When I took Kibaki home, the Kikuyus called me Mtongoria Jamba for having championed that cause when Kibaki was infirm after the accident. So I say that I cannot be an enemy of the Kikuyus. So that is how, I try to dispel, because remember, they've been calling me Ati Kimundu Muguruki.
Yes, yes, and it's so different from the sentiments you have about your rivals right now. They're normally so different, when it's a one-on-one conversation like this. But when you're out there in the tours and the campaigns, all sorts of words and all sorts of names are normally exchanged. As a leader, what do you think is a message that should be sent by leaders like yourself, Uhuru Kenyatta on his hand, Deputy President William Ruto on his? Because at the end of the day, Kenyans will go to the poll and vote for you people, but we still want peace to reign later on. But do you feel like when you go to the campaigns, you send the right message of unity?
Certainly, you want to send the message of unity, and you really want to play this game fairly, okay? So, like, I would never, for example, organize any youths to go and heckle Uhuru Kenyatta, even if he went to my strongholds. You see, like the other day, you saw what happened in Kisumu.
Yes.
That was not organized by our people. You see, those youths who are saying they do not want Ruto to speak were wearing Jubilee T-shirts. Then we given Jubilee T-shirts. But they were basically organized to go and heckle Ruto by Jubilee, to make it appear as if...
But Ruto is Jubilee.
I'm saying, that's why they were playing politics, because they wanted people to also shout against us in Baringo. That is how it was organized. So yesterday, a group of people demonstrating in Kisumu, they were wearing ODM T-shirts, saying they want Raila to have two terms.
2 terms.
10 years and so on. When they were all, we had gotten intelligence information the day before that these boys were organized by Jubilee in Nairobi. They came from Nairobi, they're not Kisumu boys. They were given those ODM T-shirts to make it appear as if they are ODM youth, so that they can cause dissension within NASA. okay, that, oh, Raila's backyard is saying they will not allow one term and so on, that Raila must do 2 terms. So that is politics.
But what is the message that you're sending as Raila Odinga? We just have about 10 or 9 days to go.
The message to?
To Kenyans right now.
But my message was that we want our democracy to come of age. Let Kenyans for once have really truly free, fair, democratic elections. Let the IBC be allowed to conduct these elections without interference from the executive. As things stand right now, there's too much interference. IBC is under siege. And I've just seen what we talked about. I remember I've been saying that the intelligence, NIS, and the military are trying to interfere with these elections. They have just owned up. You see, when they say, for example, they want to seal off Central Province, they were not named military officers to be in charge of each county, Central Province. What do they want to do? And they're talking about special transit goods, which are being moved from so-called greenhouse to rural areas. In all those codes you can see, you can bust them. I mean, I know intelligence very well. So these special transit goods are ballot papers being moved from greenhouse. That's where they're being stored. So these ballot papers were printed a long time ago.
And you have evidence to support all this,
exactly.
the claims
That's
that...
why the contract had to go to Al Ghuraj. Now they're telling us we should send our officers to go and witness packaging of ballot papers in Dubai. You'd be a fool to do that because the ballot papers are already here. Now you have evidence the military is planning to move them. They say these forces are going to be in place by the 5th of August. And after that, they're going to be decommissioned and then sent on special missions, say like UN, peacekeeping forces outside there. And they are being given numbers of dead soldiers. So special. So we have been able to break all those codes which they've used in the document that we given to the media today.
All right. As Raila Odinga, and with just 9 days to the elections, do you feel that IBC will be able to deliver a credible election?
If they are allowed without interference, I think that they have capacity to do so. Number one, because the register has not been properly cleaned, we fear that unless the EVIDs, which is electronic voter identification devices, work, because voters will vote. So we are saying that it is a sine qua non. The EVIDs must work. People must be identified biometrically at each and every polling station. Agents must be allowed to be present to witness this. You see, when IBC is saying they will only allow 1 agent per polling station, how about if that agent is tired, want to go and attend to the cult of nature, or want to go and eat? Who is in charge? There are always 2 agents per political party, so that when one is tired, the other one takes over. So secondly, counting of the ballots is not a secret matter. In most African countries and the world these days, the opening of the box is done in public. It is opened, then the contents are poured on a table when everybody is watching. Then the sorting out is done in full view of members of the public. Then counting is also done. Announcement is done there. See, this idea of trying to make it a secret affair that only a few people who can be intimidated, who can be bribed, is not right.
All right.
So there's nothing special. Like you see, they've been talking about this tallying center, and they've made hula baloo about a so-called tallying center in Tanzania. First, I don't even know who came up with this idea.
Yes, so you confirm there's no tallying center in...
Yeah, no tallying center. But the thing is that even if there were, which there isn't.
In Tanzania or in Kenya?
Even if it's in Kenya. If it's in Kenya, I've said there's one in Kenya. I'm saying that why should it be a matter of security concern? Because you're just adding results which are coming from polling stations directly, which is what IBC is adding. So why should it be a secret that, that the security of the country is going to be endangered unless somebody wants to announce fraudulent results?
All right. We want to move on now and, you know, focus on August 9th. What happens if Raila Odinga is president on August 9th, and what happens if he's not?
Both ways. If he's president, it will be very good because, I mean, Kenyans will celebrate. I think majority will celebrate. If he's not, the life will also continue. But if he's defeated fairly, I just want to assure you that Raila Odinga will not regret. I'm a sportsman. I've played many times, and we have lost sometimes very fairly. And each time when we lose, we shake hands with the team that beat us. It's only better if, for example, a referee gives the other team a penalty which they did not deserve. Or allow them to score when the guy was in offside position. Or use what they call the hand of God to score. Then you feel cheated. Definitely. Then you cannot be happy. But I wish you were to lose fairly.
What does fairly mean? Because you've always said if I lose fairly, I'm going to accept the results and go home peacefully. If not, then you know we'll say that this thing was not fair and we'll go to the court.
Allow Kenyans to participate. Don't intimidate other people. Like they have already started sending notices to people, oh, there's going to be trouble. If you don't move here, you'll be killed on that day. So that people can run away, particularly from urban centers. This is already happening. That is the disenfranchising people. Okay? The other one, on that polling day, allow people to go, open polling stations on time. Don't delay with ballot boxes. Don't delay with papers. Let people then participate in voting throughout. Don't close the stations when people are on the queue until all of them have voted. Then do the counting transparently, in full view of many people, the public. Okay? Don't chase people away.
All right.
That the people who haven't voted, they're a security threat, like we hear Mr. Matiang'i running around. And that Mr. Matiang'i, the chief campaigner of Jubilee in Kisii and Nyamira. And yet here is now masquerading as the security chief of the country. Everything is doing on behalf of Jubilee.
All right, we have to bring the conversation to a close, and we'll be doing that in a few minutes, and I'll be going through some tweets just to see what Kenyans are asking about. But for now, I want to invite a young man who made a drawing, a portrait of you, rather. It's called on Candy. He wants to present something to you. Yes. So, yes, welcome. Yes. All right. So it is a portrait.
Wonderful.
Yes, I promised, he came on the show earlier, and I promised that when I meet you one day, he was going to come and hand over the portrait
to you.
Maybe you can introduce yourself on Candy.
Thank you so much for giving me this platform. I am very humbled to meet the most powerful leader in the whole world. And I tell you, it's my honor. I did this out of the respect and the love I have for you. And I believe God is going to give you the victory that you deserve.
Thank you.
I am Onkendi, and I do portraits, and I use portraits as a way of preaching peace and love to Kenyans and the world at large. So this portrait, and you see today I've worn a white shirt, and it is really showing that we need peace in Kenya, and we urge everybody, young youths out there, you do your thing, but do it peacefully.
Do it peacefully.
Yes.
All right. Do you like it? Does it show exactly?
Yes, of course. I'm touched.
Thank you so much.
I'm very touched.
Thank you so much.
With this kind of talent. This talent must be encouraged.
Sure.
This is the kind of youth we are talking about, whom we will take into that industrial park.
Sure.
So that they can be able to use their talents creatively. So that they can earn a living more productively.
All right.
Thank you very much, young man.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And just like you have said, Kenya is going to be there after the elections.
Sure.
May Kenyans have a peaceful campaign. I said last time, and I want to repeat it again, that I wish my brother Uhuru Kenyatta all the best in his campaign. If he beats me, I will congratulate him. If I beat him,
you should congratulate
him. But we will remain friends in spite of this contest.
All right.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nkendi.
Welcome.
All right, just hand this over right now. Okay, as we wrap up, a few days ago you released the book. Many people know The Flame of Freedom, but what is that all about?
This booklet here, I've captured in a short form what I think has gone wrong in our country. That's why I call it the quest for nationhood, a roadmap to our future, and how Kenya can recover lost ground and achieve prosperity for all. So I've here talked about, I'll say, what do we mean by development, for example, so that we are talking about the same things. And I've talked about our new constitution. Then I've talked about economic development, two different journeys. Here, I'm comparing ourselves with the tigers, Asian tigers, like Korea, Malaysia, and so on. Because at independence, we were equal. But we took two different routes, and that's why we came up with the two different results. Then I'm just saying that I'm talking about devolution, how it can work properly for our people. And then I'm talking about the road ahead. What do we want to do after we take over from Jubilee from September? What are the things that we are going to put in place to ensure that Kenya can catch up?
Immediately.
Immediately.
All right. So we will have to wind up, but I've seen quite a number of tweets. Two questions to you. One of it, somebody is asking, when you're not in the campaigns and when you're not politicking, what is it that Raila Odinga does with his free time, if you have free time? I'm not sure if you do.
First, I'm with my children, particularly my grandchildren. I play with them, okay?
What kind of games do you roll on the floor? Do you...
many things. Driving small vehicles, cars. I tell them some stories.
Some vitenda wheelies.
Yeah, vitenda wheelies. And it was really quite a bit of fun. They ask me questions and I answer, and so on. And then I read. I read a lot. I read biographies. I read political books. I also read a little bit of engineering publications, just to keep myself abreast, so that I'm not very rusty. You know,
right.
Engineer. And sometimes I write other things, you see, and I watch some movies.
You watch movies?
Sometimes. Sometimes I just watch TV. And then I watch sports a lot when there are interesting matches. Like, you know, when Arsenal is playing.
What your team is, Arsenal or
Arsenal is, I'm always a Ghana. I started as a Man U, but when their fans became rowdy, I defected to first Liverpool, then finally settled in Arsenal. And I never looked back. From the days,
even when they don't perform well, you still...
From the days, you don't have to win all the times. You see, you know, Chelsea, before they brought in Mourinho, Chelsea last won the Premier League in 1955. It took them exactly 50 years before they won again in 2005. So what is 12 years or 10 years or 9 years, that no trophy. At least we've been winning FA Cups. So I love the style of soccer that Arsenal plays.
All right.
Yes.
Do you have friends, apart from the core principles in NASA, we never see with anybody else? Do you have other friends, you know, aside from them?
Oh, I have a number of friends.
Real, like true friends?
Real friends, social friends, not just political friends. I've got social friends with whom we meet and we chat. We sometimes look at the old days, you know, how things were. You know, I've got some of my childhood friends. Also, sometimes we just sit and talk about how things were and how life has changed over the years. You see, that's why I'm saying that, you know, the difference between the youth and the old is that the old has once upon a time been young.
Yes.
So they know what it means to be young.
Yeah.
But the youth don't know how to be, what it means to be old. Okay.
All right. And finally, let's talk about Rosemary. How is she doing? Because she had to pull out of the race.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, she's doing fine. Rosemary's made tremendous progress since she came back from South Africa. And she recently went to Israel and met some good consultants in this field, and they have put down a regime, and she's recovered. In fact, they're all surprised that she's made such a fast progress since she suffered this. So she's in very high spirits. She's a very strong person, and she's very grateful to Kenyans who have been praying for her. Some of them have been sending her messages on her phone, and others have visited her. She's doing great.
All right.
Doing great.
Thank you very much. Yes. Maybe as we wind up, the Swahili version of the song that you're singing for us earlier, you sang it for us during the break.
the Belafonte.
Yes.
It was translated by Fadhili Williams into Swahili. So Fadhili Williams, you know, is also the one who coined Malaika. No, Paul Machupe, but Fadhili Williams, the one who sang it, and Miriam Makeba then took it. But this one here, she sang like, it goes like this. Niliondoka kwenda safari, nilimuacha wangu peke. Nilipofika kumbe safari, chukua kalamu na kusema wacha wangu peke yake. Sikujua siku ya kurudi, lakini mpenzi usitie shaka, ni lazima nitarudi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time here on Friday Briefing. NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga, and all the best August 8th. Let's wait and see what happens. But peace must reign, like your message said earlier on.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for all the comments that I'm getting online. So I'll visit them in a short while. But for now, we want to take a break. When we come back, we'll be having Willis the Wordmaster here on the show. Don't go away.
Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines daily on the mountain top, I took a trip on a sailing ship, and when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is...
Utendakazi wa serikali.